Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, January 17th, 2020, and you're tuned in to episode 868 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. New Mexico snaps up today's top spot with a quick update on a storyline we just touched upon yesterday, as just a day after Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham announced that she would like to see state lawmakers pass an adult use legalization bill. During this year's upcoming month-long legislative session, two Democratic lawmakers, one in the state Senate and the other in the House, have filed a piece of legislation that would set up a taxed and regulated adult use program while also setting up social justice programs like automatic expungement and fast-track paths for Native American entrepreneurs. With the legislative session set to kick off in just a few days on January 21st and only to last a month, we could see some very quick action here if the new bill manages to get through the lawmaking process. This is exciting stuff, which you can read more about over at Marijuana Moment, if only to scan the 173-page bill yourself. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Our friends over at the ArcView Group have some interesting new numbers out on the size of the global cannabis market in 2019. I should give a quick bit of disclosure on this one, as my buddy Troy Dayton, founder and chief strategy officer of the ArcView Group, is also a regular on our weekly show Marijuana Today. Troy and I have been pals since way back in 1998 when we started up what became Students for Sensible Drug Policy. According to a new report just issued yesterday by the numbers side of the ArcView Group, the global legal cannabis market in 2019 jumped 48% on the year to $15 billion. 48%. For just a quick bit of comparative context, the American wine industry is worth somewhere around $60 billion. The big jump from 2018 to 2019 is attributable mostly to Canada bringing more legal business online, as well as strong sales in U.S. states like Massachusetts, Colorado, and Oklahoma. This is a good one to keep in mind in the face of the relative slump in the legal marijuana capital markets. The underlying business of legal cannabis is strong, even if stock prices aren't right now. Our final top story of the day and the week brings us back out west to Arizona, where a shockingly high 40% of this year's industrial hemp crop has to be destroyed because it has too much THC in it. Federal law sets the line of demarcation between legal hemp and illicit marijuana at 0.3% THC, a level that we recently learned was pulled from a random taxonomy study on hemp from the 1970s. If a state law requires, like Arizona's does, that hemp testing over the limit be destroyed, then a farmer could face the loss of not only the potential revenue from a too hot hemp crop, but also all the associated costs involved with growing it. That's a huge problem that could be disastrous to farmers, the smaller scale ones especially. A more sensible model of hemp regulation might not set THC's limits so low, but if it did, it should also allow for some kind of remediation so that farmers can make back some money on hemp grown with too much THC. This should be on your list of general storylines to be aware of. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, MJ Today Media, publishers of this podcast, our weekly show Marijuana Today, as well as the Weed Wonks and Green Rush podcasts. If you need to market a legal marijuana product, service, or brand, there's no better way to do it than with us. But today, I'm going to talk to you about our very special Smug Mug Club, which is reserved for only the classiest of classy listeners who are willing to pay $100 for a coffee mug. But when I say coffee mug, I mean the best coffee mug in the world, which I can personally attest to with the past decade or so that I've been using the same model, the Stanley 16-ounce stainless steel insulated. It's as bomber and high-performing as you can get in a coffee mug. What we do to make that special mug a Smug Mug Club mug is to laser a logo of our weekly flagship show, Marijuana Today, on it. We call it the Smug Mug Club because you should feel pretty smug about having the best coffee mug in the world with the logo of the best weekly panel podcast in the legal marijuana industry. That is something to feel smug about. We started this up as a way to give our super duper fans a way to support our work while also getting a totally kick-ass mug. We're all about value here at MJ Today Media. We don't make it easy though to join the Smug Mug Club, so you have to visit mjtodaymedia.com/smug mug club to start your path to Smug Mug Clubdom. Best of luck. All right, time for the Blitz. Yesterday, Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo released a proposed budget for the next fiscal year that includes revenue generated from a legal marijuana taxed and regulated sales program, which would need to be legislatively passed by state lawmakers. Governor Raimondo tried to do the same thing last year, but the state legislature just was not ready yet. So here's to hoping for better results this year. Yesterday also marked the first day that edibles were made available for order online up in the Canadian province of Ontario, which is, like other Canadian provinces, in the process of implementing legal edible and vaporizer sales after a year-long moratorium on the products ended last month. The results were as you probably expect, with online customers buying out the entire lot of available edibles within just a few hours. The Ontario Cannabis Store said they'd be restocking as soon as possible. Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy, a Republican who has been gleefully gutting the state's budget of good things like funding for education and environmental protection, was too scared to inform the chair of the state's Marijuana Control Board, Mark Springer, a critic of the governor who's called for him to be removed from office, that he was being fired from his position as chair. So he let the Associated Press do it for him via their reporting on the matter. Mr. Springer will be replaced as chair of the Marijuana Control Board by Dunleavy's appointed lackey, Casey Shack. We have an unfortunate headline up next that also comes with a quick disclosure as it concerns our sponsor, Eaze, a marijuana delivery service based in California. TechCrunch has a longer form story up looking at the business woes that Eaze is apparently going through right now as the company seeks funding necessary to sustain operations. As TechCrunch has it, Eaze just closed on a $15 million bridge loan after failing to close on a $50 million Series D round. This is a good one to open up in full today. Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer just gave a good interview with Marijuana Moments about his thoughts on the legalization of psychedelic mushrooms, which he's come around to supporting over the last year or so. This is a super interesting branch of drug policy reform that's a natural fit for marijuana activists, so I'd suggest giving this one some attention. Randy Robinson over at Mary Jane picked up on news out of Colorado that the Colorado Springs Airport has collected more than 37 pounds of marijuana in the so-called amnesty box it's installed to allow travelers to get rid of leftover marijuana products before flying out. That total is for all the years stretching back to 2014 when adult use sales first spooled up. And finally for today and for the week, we have an update to another story we covered just yesterday as details came out after we published our show on the transition High Times is making into the retail dispensing market. Deb Borchardt of a Green Market Report highlights the news that the 47-year-old cannabis company is working on dispensaries in Las Vegas and Los Angeles, while also just having hired a new president to oversee their dispensary efforts, tapping retail veteran Paul Henderson, former CEO of Grupo Flor. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again on Tuesday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, MJ Today Media, and to all of our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.